Grizzlies fans, welcome into another Grizzly game day update. The Grizzlies will take on the Clippers today on the first half of a back-to-back, actually 3 games this weekend. So it's going to be very busy. We're starting off with the Clippers. Tomer Azarly is going to come and help me break this one down. Okay, I'm going to start it off. The Grizzlies are without, and I have to look down for this because it's such a long list. Steven Adams, of course, Brandon Clark, of course. Now, Jaw is out for the season. Santi is out tonight. Derek is out tonight. And Marcus is out for at least 6 weeks. This is the first game after he's been back, Tomer, that Marcus is out with everyone saw his finger was facing the wrong way in that last game. Going against a Clippers team that has won 16 of their last 19, the 3 guys in Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and James Harden somehow have found their groove and they are clicking. What is it that is clicking so well for this Clippers team that just wasn't in that first matchup that we had played with them earlier in the year?
Yeah, I think one, they're really still trying to figure out a set rotation that really worked for them. Um, I think at that time Russ and James were still starting together, and I think that's been a duo that alongside Kawhi and PG just has not looked great so far. I'm not mistaken, but even back then, I think they weren't moving James. They had James come in to start the second quarter and play most of the second quarter. They pulled him out early and let Russ kind of do his thing first quarter. So a lot of it's just rotational. A lot of it is just figuring out who works well with who. And once they found that James works better with the second unit, a bit of Kawhi Leonard in there, it's been smooth sailing, as you can see. I think since November 17th, since the starting lineup change, they've had the best record in the league at 21-6. Um, they kind of haven't looked back. I know they've had a couple hiccups here with Paul getting, I think, he had a groin injury. Kawhi missed a couple games due to a hip injury, but they've been healthy for the most part, knock on wood. And I think they've really found what works for them, and I think that's going to continue as they kind of go into a tough January stretch.
This is the third matchup between these two teams this season. We've split both of them. The later one, like the most recent one, the Clippers won. I mean, it ended up being 117 to 106, but that wasn't the story of the game. The Clippers were up by 19 points for most of the game, even going into
Yeah.
that third quarter. I know right now, and you say they've been like one of the best offenses. They are a top 10 offense in the NBA right now. They're third in 3-point percentage. They're fifth in steals. Where do the Clippers, now that like those lineups and rotations are kind of set, like where do they score? Like what is making them so hard to handle for defenses?
So I think for one, Norman Powell coming off the bench has had an absolutely efficient season. I think he's shooting just under 50, 40, 90. I think he's shooting like 45% from three. He's been getting some great looks. And I think as a guy who has historically tried to get to the free throw line to kind of get in rhythm, he's kind of put that away and just said, let me go get some buckets. Let me not worry about drawing fouls. Let me just go score. And that's worked out really well for him. I think when you have a guy like Russell Westbrook coming off the bench, the energy and transition that he brings. I mean, the crowd here in LA is always on their feet. It's probably the loudest whenever Russ checks into the games. They still love him and that they still feed off that energy. And then when you have Paul, Kawhi, James, obviously about that offensive talent, especially in an isolation setting. But they do a really good job of moving without the ball, I would say, as James tries to kind of get them set. James's step back has been absolutely lethal, as we've seen for years. It's kind of weird seeing it on this side after seeing it on the other side for so many years. And when you have Paul Kawhi James, they're always going to find a mismatch. They're always finding different switches and off ball actions to get guys in better positions. And I think we've seen that work to perfection now. Kawhi shot an absurd percentage from the field over the last kind of stretch here. I don't know if that level is sustainable, but he has, had stretches throughout his career where he's able to shoot, 50, 52, 53% from the field. Um, and I think with James here, with Paul playing well and healthy, with the depth this team has, those good looks are going to continue to happen. And at this point, you got to just kind of knock them down. So that's really where they're getting their offense from. But Norman Powell has been a really really big part of their offense. He's there's so much attention on everyone else that he's just able to do whatever he wants. Really.
Perfect. The Grizzlies, the Grizzlies really have been hanging their hat on the defensive end, especially with Ja being out. Obviously, Marcus Smart being out is a big hindrance in that, but I mean, they still have the reigning defensive player of the year in Jaren Jackson Jr. They still have Vince Williams Jr., who has come and just really become like this big defensive disruptor this season. He just signed a deal like either yesterday or the day before. I want to talk though on the flip, Grizzlies offense, Clippers defense. The two main guys, obviously, with all these guys out, are Desmond Bane, who's averaging 25 points per game, Jaren Jackson Jr. averaging 21 points per game, and they both obviously score in such different ways. Des, mainly from the three, but he's got that downhill game. Jaren, all three levels really. Defensively for the Clippers, what matchups do you think? Like, what does that look like?
Oh, I mean, I think Desmond Bain and Jaren Jackson have gotten to the point where they're just so good individually that they're going to get theirs. I think that's where I'm at. I think Jaren's had a couple of 30-point games. I think he's had a couple of 40-point games, if I'm not mistaken, as well. Just really taking that offense to another level. I think, I talked to Desmond before the last time they played, and just to kind of gauge what you know, there was a big role thrust upon him and Jaren without Ja to start the year. They were kind of the 1A, the 1B together. And I thought it was really impressive how they started out the year offensively. Even though they weren't getting the wins, I think they were having a lot of close losses. They were in games. It's not like they were getting blown out. And I think that was very impressive. And that was a learning opportunity for them. And unfortunately, it's going to have to continue being kind of like that throughout the year now that Ja's going to be out. But if there's anything they showed us to start the year, it's that they're capable of doing it. They're capable of handling that workload. I think it looks like Memphis has also found something here with Vince Williams Jr. I know Bismack Biyombo started and played well for them, but having an athletic wing like that who can shoot, defend, he looks like a disruptor out there. He's been really good for them. And I think, hopefully as they get healthier throughout the year, Marcus comes back, some of the other guys get back. You could see them start to develop a bit of a rhythm, but I think Desmond and Jaren will kind of get theirs. Vince is Vince is the type of guy to kill the Clippers. He's the type of guy who will kind of find a way to get buckets, offensive rebounds, backdoor cuts, all those type of things. And so Luke Kennard hasn't. I'm still waiting for him to have kind of that big revenge game. We haven't really talked about him, but he's very capable of having that type of game where he goes off for like 6 threes. I think he had like 4 threes and a quarter against them a couple of years back. But a lot of guys who are capable, led by Desmond and Jaren. I think we've seen that to start the year. So definitely not a team to take lightly. The Clippers have been good defensively, but they've lacked in transition. They've lacked on some of the rebounding at times. So and that's, I feel like, a place where when you have the hustle and energy guys that Memphis does, that's a little scary because they can make you pay for those.
All right. All right. That's the analysis we needed. Tomer, thank you for coming on with me today. I'm actually going to end with one thing because this is the third time we're playing, and because these two teams have been so, I don't know what the right word is here, but like fluid with their lineups. Like we've seen so many different lineups throughout the entire season. Let's go the one actual one-on-one matchup that when you turn on the game today, you're like, oh, this is the one that I want to watch.
The one matchup in this game that I want to watch.
Keep in mind who's playing and who's not, because usually it's like, oh, Ja versus whoever, but he's not in right now. So what's the matchup?
Oof. I think it's got to be Desmond Bain versus Paul George. I just Paul's been really good for them. I think he's had some quarters where he's not played as well, then he explodes for like a 15-point quarter. But I'm just really fascinated with Desmond Bain. I think he's been really good for a while. But I don't know. I think he's definitely been able to take a step up, and the playmaking looks better. The attacking of the basket looks better. So I'm really curious to see what a Desmond Bain kind of Paul George head to head looks like. If I had to pick obviously honorable mention, Zubac has been looking a lot healthier, and he and Jaren Jackson always have these kind of battles where, yeah, a great battle where Zoo plays well inside, Jaren will give you like 5 threes, and it's like, damn, this is just crazy. So, yeah, those are my matchups. But it should be a fun game. It really should be. Memphis is a really hard-fighting, hard-nosed team, and I don't expect this to be an easy one at all. Anytime the Clippers play the Grizzlies, it should be tough.
Good. I like to hear that. This one tips off at 7 p.m. Again, it is going to be stormy. So if you're watching this from Memphis and you're coming to the Forum, please drive safely, give yourself extra time, and we will see you there. Tomer, again, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Be safe out there.